literally stolen almost word for word. And they started marketing these concepts on TV. Well, I wanted to do them in seminar format. So the market moved one direction. I did decide to move with it. And about $50 million later, they had that business, and I didn't have much business in terms of my seminars any longer. Well, that's okay. I got lots of money. I don't have to worry about that. So little by little pieces of it, I didn't follow the market, and I kind of lost that whole industry. Kind of went off in a different direction. We still had lots of money, though, and put a lot of it into a big, beautiful cabin in Provo, Utah, up the canyon, Sundance Ski Resort, right next to Robert Redford's big place up there. Put about $2 million in cash into this beautiful cabin. Been offered $3 million for it by some foreigner coming through. It was the most beautiful piece of real estate you've ever seen in your life. Gorgeous property. $250,000 worth of furnishings inside. I've played all the want stuff before, let me tell you. I'm speaking from experience. That afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my wife called, or actually the ski patrols called from the ski resort, where my wife had gone that afternoon to bake a cake for our anniversary. She took our little boy with her, Aaron. And I'd stayed behind to finish up the challenge, the book, The Challenge. That afternoon was a wonderful afternoon. I was going into all kinds of details on this book. I loved to write, so I stayed back and was going to bring the other kids up later. Got a call from the ski patrol. You better come to the cabin. There's been a problem. And I rushed up the canyon. It snowed that day about 40 inches. And so there was a lot of snow on the ground, lots of danger in the air. Ski patrol was there to take me up the canyon to where the cabin had been. And as I pulled up there, I find my wife wrapped in blankets in shock, because she had walked out towards where the cabin was and had seen it just really decimated in front of her. As you can see, avalanche that had come through it had really just wiped it out. And she'd walked out into the snow, and it's snow after an avalanche is like soft, powdery stuff. You sink right up to your neck like quicksand. And she'd swum around in it, finally got herself out. And bottom line, it was a very wake-up call to life, frankly. We watched in an instant a $3 million asset be destroyed. We ran down the cabin, or I ran down from the cabin to the home to check on our insurance, and found out we were not insured in the case of an act of God. It's a strange way to put it, isn't it? And eventually there were some insurance funds that did come through after a long legal battle. But at that moment, we literally had watched a huge chunk of our net worth go up in smoke. And it was attached to certain bank loans that we had done to buy some properties that my intuition told me not to buy. And within 6 months, and $10 million net worth was $3 million underwater. I was a multi-millionaire in the wrong direction. And so there are a lot of things we'll be talking about even later on this afternoon about protection, how you protect your assets, come from some real poignant experiences here. Bottom line was my creditors now decided that they wanted their money quicker than I could pay it. And one of those was my bank, with whom I had borrowed about $1,750,000, and he wanted it immediately. And since there's no insurance, he thinks, and I thought too, and since the business wasn't doing as well as it had done in years past, they called their loans, which means that they took all the assets. Everything I had my name involved in, signed by the leases and signed by the collateral agreement, my Simon & Schuster royalties, and all streams of income flowed right straight to my bank, and they literally cut us off with nothing. It was a very awakening experience. It wiped us out, pretty much. I decided I didn't want to declare bankruptcy, and therefore fought that for many, many years, paid off lots of debts, 100,000 here, 10,000 there, 15,000 here. There's not a person in this room who's ever had more creditors trying to take after them than I am in front of you. I understand what it's like. If you've ever been behind in any payment, I understand exactly what that's like, because I've experienced that personally and deeply. I also followed intuition, and intuition was, no, you're not going to declare bankruptcy. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do. I'm saying at that time, my intuition said, no, you're going to pay this back. And so I had to figure out a way to pay it back, piece by piece by piece. I remember coming down here to California and leasing a home on the lake out in Fairbanks Ranch with literally nothing, and having a reputation of lots of, wealth, the guru of all this stuff. Well, the guru had gone in the tank. And it was very embarrassing and extremely, extremely difficult to live through. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And the best thing that ever happened to me, in the strangest way. They always are, aren't they? It's no fun to be in them, though. Life is a roller coaster, isn't it? That's what life is like. And so that's where we were at that point. I remember jogging around that lake and asking myself the question, how am I going to pay $3 million back? Where is it going to come from? Creditors are calling. I say, just give me some time. I'll pay it back. I'll sign a note. I'll pay it back within 5 years. Give me some time. See, when you got lots of money, it's nice and luxurious to take back and look at your life and say, well, this is what I'd like to do with my life. When you don't have any money, you have the same responsibility, though. You have to ask yourself the question, what am I born for? What's my life all about? Some of you have never had that experience where you don't have anything, or less than nothing. Some of you are nodding your heads like, oh, yes, I know what that's like. But some of you here in the room have got a problem, and the problem is you've got too much stuff. Your stuff, you got your stuff, you got your mortgage payments you're trying to carry around, you got your car payments, you got that furniture loan you got over there, all this stuff you're trying to carry around, And you know what? You don't have the luxury of dropping it all and saying, wait a second, what does my life count for? What am I supposed to be doing? What does the universe want me to do? What are my talents? What are my gifts? As I was jogging around that lake out there, I was asking myself the question, okay, if I'm going to make this money back, how am I going to do it? And I found myself saying to myself, if I'm going to make it back, I'm going to make it back my way. Because I'm so far in a hole, I'll never get out. So I'm going to do it my way. If I'm never going to get out, then I'm going to live my life my way, for once in my life. It's a very liberating decision. Because I then began to ask myself, well, what do I like to do? What am I good at? What are my gifts? What are my talents? When was I happy? And I went back over my life, my experience in my previous businesses. And I said, well, yeah, I love to do that. I love to do that. No, I'm not very good at that. And I began to go back and say, listen, if I'm going to make it my way, I want to do the talents that I've been given. What are my talents? What are my gifts? What are yours? Because that's where your wealth lies. And each one of us has different talents and gifts. And when you give those gifts and talents, that's when the world gets better. And when you don't give those gifts and talents, then the world is impoverished. Because we're all in a symphony, and you play your part and I play mine. You can't play my instrument, and I can't play yours. You can't be somebody else. You can't be an Elvis. We all had an Elvis. If you try to be like Elvis, you're an Elvis impersonator. And you know what that is. It's just a joke. It's a joke. You are you, Terrence. There's only one person can be that. I can't be you. You're it. That's it. You don't play yourself very well, then none of us in this room get what you got. And you've been given certain gifts, talents. When you magnify them, we're all blessed. You don't magnify them, we just don't hear your note. When you lose everything, you get this incredible luxury of asking these kinds of questions. What's my note? When do you want me to play it? What's my gift? When do you want me to give it? From that came a very powerful realization that people who are really good at what they do are on purpose. They're doing what they love to do. They're good at it. It's important to them. And they feel it's part of their destiny. love what they do. They're good at it. It's important to them. It's part of their destiny. When you select a business for you to go into, you should be asking yourself those kinds of questions. Do I like this business? Does it express who I am? Does it magnify my talents? Is it part of my destiny? Pretty serious questions. And yet when I was jogging around that lake, asking myself over and over again, okay, I got to make this money back. How am I going to do it? Let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach. That's what I'm going to teach, because I like to teach. I think I'm pretty good at it. I like to write. I think I'm pretty good at it. I didn't know that for a long time, but then I kind of discovered it. And then I started to really practice it. And slowly but surely, we paid back all the things that were needed to be paid back, and we came back on top, and happy to say that the sun is shining. But for many, many months in there, many years actually, in fact, many, many years, one after the other, although the outward appearance of Bob would have been, he's got it together, the inward appearance was very tough. That's why I can tell you, and I've earned the right to tell you, that there isn't a person in this room who can't and shouldn't be very successful at what they pursue. And I don't care what your problems are. I don't care how far you think you're down. There's not a problem that you're experiencing that I probably haven't experienced myself. Now, life's a little different, because when you ask a question about what your business is, you say, okay, what do I want to spend my time at? Because I've only got so much time. What talents do I get to magnify? I always follow my intuitions on these things, and created certain businesses that really flow for me. One of the businesses that flows for me, obviously, is real estate. So I'm going to kind of show you what my faucets are. And you're going to create faucets for yourself, the way things flow for you. But putting your energy into the businesses that flow cash to you based upon your talents. And there's a good chapter in Nothing Down for the 90s, which is called How to, it's a chapter on goal setting. It's like the third chapter into it, where I go into great detail about this concept I call purpose. And I don't have a lot of time for us to talk about it here. But the 4 questions I want you to ask yourself tomorrow, next day, when you get up in the morning, is what am I good at? What do I love to do? What is important to me? And what is my destiny? What am I good at? What was important to me? What I love to do? What's my destiny? And then, as you make money, make sure that none of your businesses go outside of the boundaries of what you just wrote down. Otherwise, what you basically said is, I want to do things just for the money. Because this is the way most of America operates. If I can just get enough money, why, I can do anything I want to do. Have you heard that formula before? You can buy anything in this world for money, right? If I just go get enough money, then I can do what I want to do. Have you ever heard that formula before? It's in almost every advertisement you'll ever see. I just get enough money and you do whatever you want. And I'm trying to tell you that formula is absolutely backwards. If you figure out purpose, you figure out what you're supposed to do, then you are flowing with the forces of the universe. The money is going to flow to you. If you don't figure out what purpose is, the money is not going to flow to you, because you will not want to do it. There's going to be a part of your soul that's going to be dying as a process. And you say, this is not what I was born to do. And you'll have to get up in the morning and go do that to get the money, and you're going to feel like a prostitute, because it's not what you want to do. It's not what you were born to do. It's not where your life flows. So, purpose is, well, watch TV. If you want to see somebody on purpose, watch TV and watch the different people being interviewed. You can tell the ones that are on purpose. Like, oh, I love to do what I do. I mean, this is so much fun. Yeah, we're doing this and we're doing that. And don't tell anybody, but I would do this for free. You hear that a lot. And you can see the people are really like, they are on purpose. they're doing what they love to do. For me, it's teaching. I don't know what your purpose is. For me, I have 3 basic funnels that flow into my life, and one of them obviously is the real estate funnel. And dollars flow into the real estate funnel for me as I teach people how to create, real estate wealth. And we do our seminars. I have various companies that market our real estate seminars. And I love that. I'm not as passionate about real estate as I used to be. But I certainly love the process of teaching a person and watch their eyes go light up. Oh, you mean to tell me that? And you show them all the many ways there are to create wealth through real estate. And so I have my books, and I've got various different products that we sell, and I've got my real estate seminars that we do. That's, for me, is purpose. Each of you is going to come up with, something similar to this. My other funnel, and I believe in multiple streams of income, you might have heard me talk about that before, would be infopreneuring. Infopreneuring, which is a combination of information and entrepreneurship, or how to teach people how to sell information and to get out what is in their head to audiences that want that information and to make profit doing that. And I've done that extremely well in the real estate industry. Now I've broadened it out to any industry. You can sell information no matter where you're at. In fact, everybody in this room should be what I call an information multimillionaire eventually. Because as you generate success, you also generate the story. And as you generate the story is sellable. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Okay? And then obviously the third funnel that I absolutely love with is USANA. And those of you who are not involved in USANA, it's a network marketing company that markets a product that is just incredible, a health-related system. And it's involved in network marketing, which is an industry I had never done before. But as I got involved in USANA and discovered the ways in which people create wealth through network marketing, I just loved it. My intuition said, yeah, that's where you should be. Now, these are my 3 funnels where money flows into my life. And each of these different funnels has little side rivulets that coming off it. There's about 12 to 15 different streams of income from those 3. This is where I make my money that flows in. Each of you is going to be having several different faucets. And I'd like you right now to take a blank piece of paper and write on that blank piece of paper the funnels, or the faucets, where money flows to you from various different sources, all right? And some of you only have one faucet, and some of you have several. I'd like you to add up how many faucets you have, using this as kind of a model here. And here is your bathtub, and the money funnels in, or faucets in. You can do a faucet if you want. And just take a moment. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this. Notice how the money flows in from various different sources right now. Okay? I'll give you 2 minutes. Go ahead and do that. Okay, so when I was running around the lake and asking myself the question, how am I going to make $3 million back? How can I get myself out of this hole? I said, well, if I could get myself out of the hole, how would I like to see it? Because I'm going to have to make it from scratch. So why not make it my way? Like the way I want to see it. Rather than like doing it the way normal people, well, I'd like to have a little office, not too many people in it. I'd like to be able to work very close to that office. Okay, good. I'd like to be able to be no more than maybe 10 minutes away from that office. I would like people to come to me. I don't want to have to go to them. So if they're going to have a seminar, they'll come here. I'd like to be able to do most of my writing at home. I'd like to be able to not have to get in a suit unless I have to get in a suit. Most of the time, if you come to my house, you'll find me when I get up. I put on my jogging shorts and my T-shirt. I put a baseball hat on, or a football hat on, a cap. I don't shave. And I'll be there the entire day working in my office. Kids are running in and out, talking, phones ringing, wife's coming in, boom, boom, things are happening right there. I said, that's the way I want it to be. That's the way I want it. I'm going to do it that way. Whether I'm $3 million in the hole, or whether I'm plus $3 million, or whether I'm up $30 million, that's the way I want to do it. So why should I go start off and do it the way you're supposed to do it? Since I'm so far in the hole anyway, I'll just start my own way right now. And so that's the way we started to create it. I'm never going to work past 6 o'clock at night, ever, because my wife won't let me. And if I ever do any traveling, it'll never be more than a couple days at a time. And I try to keep that down as much as possible. In other words, that's the way I design it. How is your design here? So if you design it that way? How many employees would you have if you could have the ideal number of employees? How much office space would you take up? Where would it be? See what I'm saying? I'm asking you that before you start your business, you ask that question, and then you start it that way. And you not even consider doing it the way they do it out there, but you do it the way it flows for you. Because when you're on purpose, you have to flow your way. It makes it natural. Most people are swimming upstream, and that's very, very hard. But if you find out what your purpose is and the ideal lifestyle you like, then it's just like natural. You get up in the morning, it's natural. I go in my office, it's natural. You know, I start doing things I love to do. It's natural, because natural means that's where you are, where your gifts are. It's like trying to teach Chopin how to play soccer, you know? No. This is what I like to do. You know, I don't want to play soccer. Get away from me. I want to do this. So what were you designed to do? So the questions you have there on your manual are creating the ideal business. You need to reduce the resistance between an idea in your head and checking your mailbox. And therefore you want to have your resistance low, because you're doing it the way it flows for you. To get on purpose, you ask yourself these 4 questions, and you have them constantly in your mind. And some of you, this is going to be really hard, because you're going to go around for the rest, well, what's my purpose? I haven't found my purpose yet. She found her purpose. He found his purpose, but I have my purpose, so I'm not happy. What's my purpose? What's your purpose? To find your purpose, that's right. Your purpose is to find your purpose. Exactly. That's right. And we already know there's a couple of pieces of purpose. They're called purpi. One piece would be to learn how to love. Well, you know, you all got to do that one, so you all got to do that. That's what I call primary purpose. Now, secondary purpose is what I call figuring out the specific way that you love. Right? I'm loving you right now. This is what I do. This is my gift to you. I can give you a hug, or I could hug you this way. And so primary purpose was to have the intention of loving Terrence. My secondary purpose, which is the way in which I'm loving Terrence, is, Terrence, I'm going to give you 20 years of my life. And I'm going to say, Terrence, I've studied for 20 years so that we could spend this day together, so that I could teach you a few techniques, ideas here and there, and I'm going to put it in a little different twist, and I'm going to do it in such a way that you'll remember it, and that's what I